What up, nerds, and welcome to another Bob Igor-endorsed episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name is Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 435, recorded Sunday, August 6th, 2023. Tonight we're talking about Disney's Haunted Mansion, as was chosen by us. Talking about new releases, 2 back-to-back. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got your boy Randu. What's up?
Randu!
How's it going, buddy? Good to hear from you. I gotta say, I completely forgot that we actively chose this movie.
What is wrong with us?
That's going to become a very strange choice as the podcast goes on, I think.
Yeah. Trying something a little different, and we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah. A little family affair. Why not?
Yeah. We'll keep it G-rated. Probably not. Last but not least, calling in from Seoul, South Korea, we got your boy Soju. What's up, man?
Oh, what up? It's your boy, the Big Sleazy Stains. Bob, you got to be loving those New Orleans shots, huh?
I really love all 2 to 3 minutes of them, yes.
I've always been a creeper.
Like the kudzu that's strangling our Dixie.
35 years.
Shouts outs to Gilbert, my boy Gilbert, the
Our
inspiration
boy,
for Bo Bear over here.
A gentleman should know the difference between velvet and velveteen.
Of course.
You want to know what the fuck we're talking about? Go watch King of the Hill.
You'll find it. You'll find it in there.
It's a much better show than ours. Anyway.
Yes. Well, yeah, we're talking about Haunted Mansion. Before we get into it, let's tackle a little bit of housekeeping real quick. Here's another reminder. If you support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about this September. Our September poll is currently posted on our Patreon website. This is my takeover month. It's all
Mom,
Bob.
you're
All
taking
Bob.
over. What have you given us
Oof.
this month?
It's a mistake to give the Iron Fist all this power.
Prepare to be fisted. Yeah, the September poll is posted. The theme for September is the cutting room floor. I chose 3 horror movies that are about making horror movies. They are Shadow of the Vampire, Leslie Vernon, and All About Evil.
Bob, you left off portrait or Henry serial portrait killer.
Henry Serial
Nailed
Portrait
that title.
Henry Serial Portrait Killer. I kill portraits. This is a guy who sneaks into fucking museums and fucking carves up.
Fuck this shit.
Man,
kill
Pete is getting desperate. They're really just doing anything they can.
Bob, how those numbers looking?
I would watch that movie. Watch the shit out of that. Shadow of the Vampire is in first place with roughly 60%-ish, maybe a little less. And Vernon and All About Evil are pretty well tied up. 20%.
Okay.
A little more than 20%.
Cool.
So it could go any way, any which way still. There's plenty of votes left out there.
Except for the way of Henry Serial, the portrait killer.
Henry serial.
My boy Henry Siri. Let's make that movie. We get so many accidental watches. Henry Siri.
That's what it's all about. If they start the stream, that's money in our pocket, baby.
Exactly. That's how you do it.
That's how you scam motherfuckers right there.
The name's
I love it.
Serial. Henry Serial.
Let's just lean into being frauds. What do you guys think?
Sounds good to me.
Hey,
we tried
all right.
to be legit for long enough.
It's not working out.
You know, that shit's hard. It's time for the heel turn of the century.
Yeah.
The Italians did it. I mean, we reviewed Terminator 2 in quotation.
And we know how much Justin and Rob both adore the Italians. We know.
Yeah. I mean, Rob does, but
I'm
speaks
pro
very
Italian.
highly of them.
I like pizza.
Rob. Damn.
Hey, get your votes in before the end of August, and we'll see what movie we're talking about this September.
That sounds just racist outside of the context of an existing joke. Oh, no.
Keeping it G.
Oh, keeping it.
Yeah, we're rolling along the G train. We got minicast coming out every other week per usual. Last Friday, we dropped a minicast. I was talking about Wrath of Becky. You can get that over on Patreon. And the next one dropping is going to be on Friday, August 18th. And your boy Soju's going to be talking about Insidious: The Red Door, the fifth installment.
The Red Door.
Yeah,
number 5.
Is it the best?
Maybe. We'll have to find
We'll
out.
have to listen and find out, yeah.
The subhead of that, I know that there's a red door involved in Insidious, but after just a few years ago prowling Zillow forever until we found a place to get like having a red door is like hot shit for the I don't know why.
Oh, man.
It's like the only thing that if people decide, well, we don't have enough money to like paint the exterior, we'll just paint the door red. That's
the door.
I swear to God, it
drives
happens
the
all
price
the time.
up an extra $15,000.
Oh, I
at
like
least.
that red door.
I
People
see it
fucking
too.
like that, dude. If you can get yourself a nice cozy spot in the further for a song, I'm sure of it.
With me.
What? I
Yep.
don't know. What's
Well,
happening
I'll
right
be
now.
talking about that next week.
That's the song, Randy. That's the song.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Soju's got a minicast coming out soon. That's pretty much it for Patreon. You guys have any plugs?
No fresh plugs for me.
Yeah, it's a little lighter. I mean, we still are. Well, we all are doing our coverage of Fantasia. So if you are interested in some new horror flicks that will be coming out, we have spoiler-free reviews up on our website, straightchillingpodcast.com. We have several that are coming out for the spooky season, September and October. Some really good flicks, actually, that we have all done spoiler-free reviews on. And we'll be releasing those for the next few days until we finally do our wrap-up coverage on Fantasia as a whole that we've been doing as well. So keep an eye out on all that stuff. But other than that, my house is clean.
Squeaky.
Yeah, I think I'm good too. Bob, you all cleaned out over there?
I am clean.
Oh boy.
All right. Clean peens. Let's go.
This peen is clean. Gonna have to re-record it.
Yeah. Gotta get our boy Cesar on back on the mic.
Oh man. Yeah, let's we're talking Haunted Mansion, and let's get into it. We're kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
Bob, how's your pre-order status?
Yeah. What are we working with here?
It's not gonna happen for me.
What?
Oh.
You finally showed some restraint?
It's nice to know that Bob will draw the line on a movie he actively dislikes sometimes. Sometimes.
Only when it's a huge corporation.
Oh.
I need to stick it to the mouse. That's what I'm doing.
I'm anti-capitalist. I only buy every DVD except for the ones Disney makes.
Oh yeah.
That's not true. You know,
That's fighting the power. Welcome to the resistance, buddy.
Some Star Wars and Marvels over there.
Finally living that punk rock lifestyle. Fuck you.
Finally.
Mouse.
Colin.
Bob,
G.G. Allen over here.
On now. I
know,
mean,
I'm
I don't
just
know if that's the
throwing my
appropriate
shit
tone
at
to
people.
take.
Yeah, you are.
They call me GG Bob. Haunted Mansion, new release, rated PG-13, runtime of 2 hours and 3 minutes. Directed by Justin Simeon, written by Katie Dippold. Stars the cast is dope on this movie. Lakeith Stanfield, Rosario Dawson, Owen Wilson, Darson, Tiffany Haddish, Jamie Lee Curtis, Danny DeVito, Chase Dillon, Jared Leto. It's impressive. New release, first time watch for all of us. Gentlemen, would you recommend folks check out Haunted Mansion? Randy, kick us off.
If you have children and you want to get them involved in spooky shit, this is a reasonable entry to horror. That's my recommendation. Otherwise, pretty skippable.
Cool. Juice, what about you?
Actually, let me qualify again. Also, if you're like a huge Haunted Mansion ride dork, I got a little bit of that blood in me for myself, but yeah, not enough to save this movie, unfortunately.
I got that blood in me. All right, Juice, what about you?
This is not a theater watch recommend for me. Where I think this is going to live perfectly is it seems how it was kind of strategized, which this seems like it'll probably be out streaming in time for Halloween. And again, like I think this will be a good Halloween watch for kids. Maybe adults want to squeak it in there after your yearly watch of Hocus Pocus Deuce, but
Deuce?
Traditions start quick around here.
Yabos die tonight.
Whoa, Bob, come on now. But no, I would not recommend this as a theater watch, and maybe not even as a streaming watch. It's definitely got some caveats that you'll just have to listen for in our review. But yeah, not a strong recommend for me. Bob, how about you?
Who can afford caveats? My God, too expensive.
Not me. I recommend this movie if you want to take a really
Put it on a cracker.
solid nap. You can put this one on. That's about
It's
it.
a nap. This is Bob's white noise movie.
It's
All right.
not super good.
Well, I mean, like Keith Stanfield's voice is very soothing. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a good voice. Sounds like not much of a recommendation from you boys here.
All right. Well,
There you go.
Yeah.
here we go.
Here comes the shit show.
All right.
Spoiler warning.
Bob, did you stay awake long enough to work out some type of
You had a
plot
ghostwriter on this one, I understand.
synopsis?
I had some help. Dude, I could not stay
We are
awake during this
So
movie.
ready for prime time.
couldn't.
This is
You are
Jonesing
your
for
father.
professional
Just
status.
cannot go to a movie without falling asleep these days.
It
Can't do it. What
Shit,
time
son.
was this movie, Bob?
3:00 in the afternoon.
In that
that's I'll cop that is a very drowsy time for old Randu.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much.
The afternoon slump. Yeah. Man.
Oh damn.
Yeah. Yeah, Alice kept shaking me. But anyway, yeah, I got the plot synopsis right here for all of you. Here we go. Ben Mathias is an astrophysicist developing a camera to detect dark matter. He meets and marries Alyssa, a ghost tour guide in the city of New Orleans, Louisiana. After Alyssa dies in a car accident, Ben gives up his career and continues to run her ghost tour. Years later, recently widowed Dr. Gabby and her son Travis moved from New York into Gracie Manor to turn it into a bed and breakfast, only to learn that it is haunted with ghosts. Ben doesn't believe in ghosts. He visits the mansion and finds nothing, only to return home and be haunted by the ghost of an ancient mariner. He returns to the house to help exorcise it. Gabby also enlists the help of a psychic by the name of Harriet, a historian by the name of Bruce, who also has blueprints to the house. They find a hidden seance room and contact the spirit of Gracie, who tells them that they need to find a medium by the name of Madame Leota. They find a crystal ball in the attic that Leota is trapped inside. Leota says Gracie hired her to contact his dead wife years ago. They tried every night for a full year to contact her, and in the process of doing so, they released hundreds of ghosts into the house before an evil ghost eventually tricked Gracie into killing himself and locking Leota inside her crystal ball. Harriet eventually attempts to astral project, but Ben ends up doing it instead, finding the ghost of Gracie, as well as the evil Hatbox ghost. Bruce and Ben describe the ghost to a sketch artist who helps them identify the evil ghost as Alistair Crump. Crump came from a wealthy family. He was abused by his father and later killed several of his socialite friends for shunning him. He later was beheaded by his servants. Kent and Travis locate the Crump mansion, and they find the Hatbox Ghost's hat in the crawl space. They also find out Crump needs a willing participant to give up their soul and become the 1,000th spirit in the Haunted Mansion in order for Crump to be able to leave the mansion. They return to the Haunted Mansion, and Crump burns the hat. Travis is tempted by Crump to come to the other side so he can see his father again, but Ben talks him out of it. They all face off with Crump in the graveyard. Ben makes peace with losing his wife as the other ghosts turn on Crump. Bruce returns with a piece of Crump's hat, and Harriet uses it to banish Crump. The ghosts are now happy and decide to live in the mansion with Gabby and Travis. Ben goes back to teaching and adopts a cat named Tater Tot. The group of friends all gather on Halloween for a hauntingly good time at the mansion. Roll them credits.
Pumpkins.
We got some heavy pumpkin action right at the end.
Right at the end there, just to kind of sweeten the deal a bit.
Yeah.
There is
Squeak that shit.
so much plot in this movie. Just
Yeah, man.
too.
Yeah, there is, and yet
Too much
it
plot.
doesn't really feel like there is.
Yeah, there's like too much going on, but
It's
you
'cause
still feel bored by it.
It's because there's like 3 MacGuffins. Like, this is more video game
Dude,
plotting than it is.
I felt the exact same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
like a video
okay.
game.
The thing is, like, this is a movie that's concocted in a lab, right? This was made
Yeah.
to be 2 things. One, a thematically like appropriate family film for Disney to promote their ride and like be a good Halloween watch and that sort of thing. And then it's also meant to be like a fan service to anybody who is like a big dork about the ride. I'm a little bit of a dork about the ride. So there's a few things I noticed in here, probably not as many as some people, certainly. But like, for example, to give an example of a MacGuffin, they had to go to another mansion, the second mansion, which is the second haunted mansion location, which is the one in Walt Disney World, whereas the New Orleans Square one is the one from Walt Disney Land. So, like, I don't know, like that was completely superfluous. It was the weirdest fucking break in the story because at that moment, fucking Danny DeVito is dying of a heart attack. It seems like
It does seem that way.
and they just kind of cut to them on an extended road trip to go try and find this dude's head at another mansion that isn't even actually haunted. So kind of defeats the purpose of including it. I think that was like, I feel like there's a lot of check boxes that Disney gave them for these promotional ties, for these things. You got to include both. You got to at least mention it. You got to at least show it and things like that. Like, so that people will feel like, oh yeah, I know what that is. And that's the joy you get out of watching it, is just knowing the Easter eggs.
That scene where they go to the Crump mansion and Winona Ryder is giving a tour. There's a weird moment where they point to Crump's cane. It's like leaning in a corner, nobody's using it, and they're like, "Is that Crump's cane?" And she's like, "No, it's a replica, but I use it for like deeply personal reasons." Or it's just like,
Yeah, she did say something
she
like that.
mean by that exactly,
Dude, that's not so there are the comedy in this. So this is, supposed to be comedic type of tone. But there are several, like kind of like that one, moments where people deliver a line and there's this kind of beat of silence where it's almost like where you would insert a laugh track almost. Yeah. But it's so awkward in the movie that there is no flow to the comedy here. It's mostly just one person delivers a line that I didn't find funny, and I was trying to kind of figure out sometimes why it was supposed to be funny. Like that one, like I use it for deeply personal. It's like, why is that funny? What? There's no setup. There's no payoff. I couldn't.
What is the guess?
Yeah, what's the guess?
So I actually not sure that's fully a joke so much as it is a setup, because I think and I could be wrong about this because I wasn't paying super close attention, but I feel like maybe the when what's his name from Schitt's Creek comes out and does this big performance at the mansion, and he's like dressed up as like an old timey or whatever. You remember? You know what I'm talking about? What is his name? Zach Levy?
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't watch that show.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, yes. Well, it's Eugene Levy's kid who's like one of the breakout stars of that show, and he also co-wrote it. But anyway, he's the guy who's doing like sort of the Igor type impression and gives continues where Winona Ryder left off. I think it's like some part of his act, but I couldn't place exactly when it happened because I wasn't paying that close of attention to it. Because I mean, how could you really?
Also, the product placement in this is weird. Because it's product placement by name proxy only, where there's one time where she was like, please write a message on this pad and paper that I bought at CVS. And then this dude Ben is telling the story of his dead wife, and he's like, and then she went to Baskin Robbins to get some ice cream, and like looks at the screen. I'm like, are we serious? It's not even at the point where people go to Baskin Robbins. They literally just say, I bought this from It's like an old 50s cartoon. It's or like a show, like a I Love Lucy, where they like stop and like, I fucking made this dinner with blah blah blah's pepper or what. You know, it's so weird. There
was another one that was like super weird. The CVS one, I think that was supposed to also be worked. So it was supposed to be a joke that landed, and it wasn't. The joke being like, oh, she's a medium, she's supposed to be mystic, but she buys things at CVS. How quaint or whatever. No, it didn't. It was a terrible joke, but it was a terrible joke because it was in service to terrible product placement. So.
The Baskin Robbins like setup, it led to the only laugh that I actually got out of the whole movie, where they're talking about all these awful things that Ben's wife used to eat. And they're like, it's a tense moment. They're feeling sad about this woman who passed away. And Danny DeVito like cuts in with, what was this woman's cholesterol like? I thought that was funny.
That was kind of fun.
That was the one laugh I got.
See, here's the thing: is like I can see the joke. I'm poised to forgive quite a bit of the comedy because this is intended for children specifically. Yeah. But at the same time, like I can't think about that and then not think, well, Uncle Buck's intended for children and families. Like that's a funny movie. Like there are good fun family films that like have good comedic beats that aren't confusing. They shouldn't be confusing to an adult, certainly.
What is that?
Well, what is a kid gonna take from it?
I think the fairest comparison too with this film is, and I mean, you can't do a one for one because different, like genres and stuff like that. But I mean, okay, if you're looking at taking a ride that, has some pre-existing characters, but it's not based on some story, I immediately go to Pirates of the Caribbean. Like for a comparison of the Pirates ride was a popular ride. They brought it to life. Jack Sparrow didn't exist. All that stuff. And it became, now that movie, it's fucking well made, and talking about ghosts and stuff like that, because like this movie feels this kept popping up in my mind. It feels artistically bankrupt because the cast in this is fantastic. And actually, a lot of the kind of like set designs, I was digging some of the kind of aesthetic choices. Some of them were not good, but some of them were. And so I was like, okay, you have this stellar cast. You have some good setups and stuff to base good setups off of, like aesthetically. Like that shouldn't be the hardest thing for you to overcome. And yet, each character literally feels like they typed a 1 to 2 sentence description into fucking Chat GPT, and then Chat GPT wrote what this character was supposed to be. I mean, when we're talking about the protests that are going on right now, the strikes about this kind of shit, I mean, this is what it feels like. It feels like the most nothing situation that's going on. It's almost like they typed in, give me a kid who's around 8 to 10 who lives with this single mother because his dad died. Like, what would his motivation be? And like a computer just generates this shit because it feels like nothing.
Well, to Randy's earlier point, where he mentioned this was like think tanked. I mean, they aggregate. ChatGPT just combs the internet for whatever the fuck's already out there. That's basically what these people are doing. Assumedly without the use of the computer. I mean, maybe they use.
Yeah, I think that's a byproduct of. I don't know how. I didn't look at. I can probably look it up, but I'm no doubt that this is one of those movies that has 15 writers on it at some point or another. Yeah. And it feels like it. Everything is like, when I say it's concocted in a lab, I mean, everything is hyper controlled. And that includes the actors who would normally be given enough bandwidth to at least, express like through their own voice, you know what I mean? In some capacity, but like they're kept on a very, very tight leash. It's a very punchy script, or at least it's trying to be. It's keeping it very compact. A lot's happening, so like to keep it in an hour and a half runtime was pretty good. I was glad they did that, but it came at the expense of any good character beats for the most part. Whatever they try and infuse in there is pretty rote, pretty basic, pretty aggregated feeling, and that's why I think, because this is coming from a place of playing it safe with one of the like flagship properties of the Disney World parks and also just like the amount of people working on it. Trying to like between those two things, I don't think they stood a chance of being very expressive. And when you look at their performances, like they're so by numbers. These people are here collecting checks, and it shows.
I don't think anybody does a bad job, but it feels like they don't have anything to work with at all. They're just like the most basic fucking lines. And like this movie does ultimately feel like the biggest waste of potential with the cast. They had like, I don't know, 5 or 6 months to shoot this thing. They had like $100 million. It's a beloved property. Like, you know, make something that is at least somewhat entertaining, and they just whiff entirely here.
Wow.
I think like, there you go. I think at the baseline for me when it comes to a Disney movie is the good ones always nail the heart. Like that, you know, they pull at your heartstrings in one way or another. And this movie definitely tries to do that in a couple different ways, and it rings so hollow when it wraps up. Just like not really attached to anybody, and I just don't get any of that like Disney heart out of it. Yeah, it is unfocused.
That was the thing that fucking blew my mind about this too, is when you're thinking about this kind of property, again, I'm thinking about beloved properties like, okay, we'll go to Hocus Pocus and the original one that came out. I was like blown away that there's one kid in this movie and his whole shtick is that he acts way more mature than he actually is. I was like, this should be a kids running through a haunted mansion experiencing things like Scooby-Doo style. Yeah, I think how are we? Yeah. I mean, like the cast is amazing, and the fact that the performances are fucking stellar just like is the hugest red flag. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of these choices are, let's get Owen Wilson, let's get fucking Danny DeVito, is for people like our fucking age.
Yeah,
like,
no, it's stunt casting, and that's been like
kid movie. Yeah, what are you doing? Why?
Well, I mean, they stunt casted as far back. Well, they've been stunt casting for decades. Think about animated films before Disney cast Robin Williams as the goddamn genie.
Sure.
You know, like before that, you had like even Aladdin himself. You don't know who, like that. That was, I happen to know that was Steve from fucking Full House. But he's not like he's a voice actor. They had voice actors doing this stuff, and then stunt casting after like people fucking loved Robin Williams in that role. That's all they do now. 100% of what they do, and that's what the entire industry has gone that way. So that's not exclusively a Disney problem, but they certainly made it happen. Yeah. And it feels like they just don't have. They like Rob said, they aim for heart, they aim for pulling heartstrings, but it's so unfocused, and like you've got too many characters, I think, for the amount of story that you're packing in. I think if you cut out the second mansion entirely and use that time for a little extra development, maybe it saves it a little bit, but they didn't do that.
I can't believe, because I mean, this kid is dealing with losing his father at a very young age, and then Ben loses his wife, and they're both working through grief, and like, but I feel like they set it up, and then we go through this whole movie where like we don't really revisit those heartstrings much at all, and then they like close it out at the end, and you're like, but what that needs to be like the through line, and it's just not.
It was confusing to me too. So you have that connection, and you're right, that should have been the drive. But then you also have this thing too where most of the other people are just frauds. And so that's definitely a common theme, but it doesn't amount to anything.
Right.
Like Owen Wilson is not actually a priest. He is a fraud. The one woman, the medium, is kind of a fraud. And
I don't know.
But they do okay anyways. Yeah. I don't know. There wasn't any purpose. Like,
she's not powerful.
I kept like thinking like, why is Owen Wilson a fraud? Why is that?
And then he just gets ordained at the end. Like,
why? Yeah,
because he knows ghosts exist now, I guess. So be a priest.
His whole arc is that he like motivates people to do this thing. Manipulates them, really, but he manipulates people into doing this thing for the betterment, for the help, to help a little kid, to help his mom, like for good reasons, and also for money and all that stuff. And then his arc is to like keep doing that for a while, and then lose confidence in himself and confess that he's a fraud, and then eventually to be convinced through the same language that he can still make a difference in this family's life, and they explicitly lay this out. That's one of the reasons that I don't love the comedy in this movie, because it's like, we've talked about this before, it's got that Joss Whedon tinge, like early Joss Whedon tinge, where it's like that happened of it all, like that sort of shit, like well, that was weird, or like, I guess that happened. Like people like glibly commenting on things that are happening around them as if they were watching the movie with you. That was novel 15 years ago. It is not novel anymore.
That was awkward.
And it's just, yeah, fucking exactly. That's the shit. It's like, I know this is for kids, so maybe it's like, and maybe kids are more into that humor than we are because they haven't been around long enough. But I don't fucking think so. We didn't need that for fucking John Hughes movies. Like, we didn't need that for a lot of these, like, or just younger films in general. Like, Home Alone didn't need that.
Is it that easy to become a priest? Like, you just decide, like, I'll be ordained now. Like,
you can be ordained online.
Now you're just a priest.
That's why I don't know about. Well, I think you're a priest of like a church that's built specifically so that anybody can get ordained for a price and marry their friends legally.
Yeah, I mean,
there's an online church.
I know you can just marry.
I don't think he's like a Catholic priest at the end. He says, "Oh, if you have any friends that need to get married," I think that's what it's pointing at.
Speaking of the stunt casting in this, every time I saw Danny DeVito, I can't see Danny DeVito and not see Frank Reynolds anymore.
Oh, no. So, he's got a couple Frank moments too.
I just wanted him so badly to pull out a gun and start blasting ghosts. Like,
he did say trash at one point, and that shit cracked me up. I really was just waiting for Danny DeVito lines, honestly.
That's it. And Danny is underutilized, which sucks because he's like definitely, I think, the funniest character, but not consistently. No. But he is the funniest character, and it's like, even when he's kind of leaving the Hatbox Ghost is like possessing him and doing all that shit or whatever, his performance is kind of like fine. I feel like that's tightly controlled again. Like, they put him on a short leash. They told him, these are your lines. Say them this way. Don't go crazy on it. Don't be creative about it. Just fucking do the line. And I think that's what happened for most of it. And the only times that the comedy works is when he's given a line where he's allowed to flex what he's good at, which is making like these off-color jokes and shit, or the thing that we know him to be good at anyway.
Yeah.
So the main writer credited with this movie, I'm sure it's like you said, it's got like 20 on there, but the main writer who's credited with this movie also did the Ghostbusters reboot in 2016. Oh my lord, a movie called Snatched. Called Snatched in 2017. They has a 36% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a movie called Heat from 2013 with Sandra Bullock in it that also has a bad score on Rotten Tomatoes that I've never even heard of. It's like, why? How? You have this property, like, why would you, like, I don't understand.
Easy to control in the story. like that's a director who's hired to do a job. He's coming to do the job. He's not going to be, if he's told to do something, or she rather, they're not going to go. Like, that's the impression I get anyway. Because Ghostbusters reboot or whatever, it had a lot of the same problems, or it's just kind of cramming a lot in there. A lot of it's like winking at the camera style jokes. A lot of it's fan service. Like, it checked. This is a director and this is a writer rather that's able to check the boxes, and those boxes are being checked. Like, that is the entertainment value of the movie, if there is any.
At least for an adult. At the director. I'm not familiar with this director. He did a movie called Bad Hair in 2020 and Dear White People in 2014. I've never seen either of those.
I've heard of both of those.
It's just
Bad Hair was a Hulu horror.
Oh, okay.
But
I've heard of that, yeah.
Dear White People was a Netflix show, I think.
At the same time, I'm thinking to myself, like, when was the last time I thought, damn, that was a good Disney movie? And it's just like, it feels like they are just in this state these days of just, like you said, checking the boxes, but it just feels like money.
The good things that they have been doing as of later, like Pixar or like Marvel properties, or it's not just like
Yeah.
pure Disney.
Even those are
properties,
But even Marvel is dipping hard now. Pixar,
Yeah.
I mean, is the probably low. I didn't see Elemental. I don't know really about that. But Soul came out in 2020. That was I
Yeah.
liked that movie.
Guardians 3 came out and people like that.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. that
Indiana
was
Jones
solid.
people were mid on.
But you had like movie like Jungle Cruise with the fucking Rock. Ugh.
Yeah.
You know, just
Hocus
these
Pocus 2.
generic. Hocus Pocus
Pinocchio.
Deuce, Pinocchio. Just I'm like, what are
Yeah.
they doing? It just seems like
Lightyear.
money.
The
like
live
even
action
Pixar is like
generation.
The live action remakes they've been doing, I haven't watched any, but all the trailers looked very, very bad.
Dude, I watched The Lion King. It
Dude,
is
I did too.
not
It's
something
so-
you want to see.
It's so soulless. That's the thing about this. It's like we're like, where's the heart? It's almost
Yeah.
like that's kind of what you expect from Disney is
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
And
well, that's what
all
they
of these-
sell.
Yeah, all of these things. Yeah, I guess that's it. It's the magic.
It's the heart you
of-
have for their other stuff. They don't need you to have heart for this one. They know you have heart for the original.
Yeah,
So that's
the
why those are so
thing.
successful to them.
I agree. The Lion King, even though it has a baked in story that we know is sad, that we know is touching, that we know like has heart, and it doesn't. It's like, how do you take something that has it and then make it not have it?
I'll tell you how.
Heartless.
Dude, the stunt casting again was insane. I will never.
But that,
I
to
love
be
Seth
fair,
Rogen,
though,
but I will never forgive them for making me listen to Seth Rogen sing. Never.
but also to be fair, I mean that's got fucking Donald Glover in it. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
These people
Are talented.
are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
They're just not using
talented,
them well.
capable people. So who's fucking up here? How do you take a property?
The concept
Okay,
is
now I'm not talking about Haunted Mansion. How do you take a property that has heart? The story exists. People already love it, and then take capable actors and actresses and fuck it up. How do you do that?
Dude,
It blows
There's
my
a
mind.
bunch of reasons, but it's like it's lightning in a bottle to some extent. Like you look at, okay, I haven't seen the entirety of it, but the Beauty and the Beast remake, I've heard a lot about.
Oh
I've heard
yeah,
people talk
I
about
did
it
see
quite a
that.
bit.
I did see that.
Did
yeah.
you? Okay, so like they add a lot of shit in there. They try and like shoehorn like issues into it to some degree, and things like that. Like, and it's because it's scientifically concocted through PR study after PR study. That's what's happening with these movies. They're not there because they have heart. They're there because you have heart for the property already.
Yeah.
And that's the only way they succeed. Period.
They
and
do.
if
They
do
feel
succeed,
so soulless. They feel
people are
so
caught onto it.
soulless.
there's only so many times I can do that. The thing is, like, nobody asked for fucking photographically realistic fucking lions to sing and dance on fucking this film. Nobody needed that or wanted it, but they made it.
I
And then
wanted
people
it.
decided, well, shit, I want it. Like my kids will see it. I'll share the love with my kids. And then their kids, who have probably already seen the original anyway and like it, they're getting this like watered down thing, and it's just very depressing. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I've heard people make arguments, not necessarily for Disney movies, but just like in general. It's like, well, like these movies are being remade for the younger generation because younger folks don't want to watch older movies. But like my argument to
I
that
don't
is like,
think that's
so
true.
you serve up this platter of shit to them instead of making something original that could be good.
Then why are they remaking fucking Willy Wonka? I watched, there's a new trailer for Wonka that came out, and like another one, I guess, and it's somehow worse than the first one. It looks fucking terrible. And like, that's a fucking movie that's older than I am by like 15, 20 years.
That's
at
the
least.
thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And
When
kids still love it.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Because when we were kids, you know what we were loving, and like I remember my grandfather showing, for the first time, fucking Star Wars.
Yeah.
That was, and even if you look at the Disney Vault and stuff like that, by the time Disney was having its kind of renaissance in the 90s with fucking Aladdin and The Little Mermaid and shit like that. But also that was largely built off things that people were still. Peter Pan was from like the fucking 50s or some shit. Cinderella, Snow White's from like the fucking 30s. It's like, what are you talking about?
I remember watching fucking like watching Happy movies. Days and shit on TV, like old ass sitcoms. Yeah,
60 years removed, and that's one of your most classically beloved films, and you're saying people don't want to watch. What kid doesn't fucking know what Peter Pan is? Who doesn't fucking know what Peter Pan is?
We need to be on the board of directors at Disney here, and we're gonna fix
I should be the CEO.
Well, I got to call for my boy DeSanti, and he's going to put me in that creek real quick.
Your boy.
Gonna clean up this town.
Not my boy. Certainly not mine.
Randy does not represent this this podcast.
No, fuck that guy. Anyway, no, like
Bob
here's the thing: is
sorry, continue.
For many years, I've kind of gone along this tack with like remakes and stuff. Like, as much as you guys and as much as people have listened to us, they know that we're pretty hard to please when it comes to remakes and shit, because they really should. Those are resources that could be allocated to making something new, and we all feel that way. We've all been beating that drum for a long time. But also on top of that, I've always been like, I've also had this like backseat opinion that's like, you know what? It's not going to change anything about how I feel about the original Lion King when they remake the Lion King. It's not going to change how I feel about the ride, the Haunted Mansion, when I watch a bad Haunted Mansion movie. So like on that level, I can let it slide. It's fine. If people like it, there's got a like fucking cult classic on your hands for the future. That's fine. It's all about those resources though. Like especially now, and especially with how many fucking creative types, how that whole aspect of the job has been systematically carved away to the bone, and now there's just fucking nothing left. They're fighting right now just to keep themselves from being like replicated by goddamn replicants. They're like fucking AI motherfuckers. Like,
we're fucked.
They have to fight this hard. They've been striking for a month. Like, what the fuck?
I thought it's been longer than that. Yeah,
probably. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up too, because that's what I was thinking too. And it's good because I've been thinking about like different things, where this one, you know, I know that they've made different versions of this one, but this one isn't necessarily based on anything other than the ride. So, I mean, it is based on a property, and you do have, I guess, some boxes to check, but it's not like a remix. But I'm a little softer on the idea of remakes and stuff like that, but I'm a little harder to please in certain aspects where I'm the kind of way of my thinking is like anything could be good. Okay. So I'm glad, I'm not glad, but this movie kind of highlights where even just a new, I guess, property or what, something that's not necessarily a sequel or a remake or whatever can still be soulless and dog shit. Whereas like I was saying, you could compare this to like Pirates of the Caribbean, where it's like, okay, that's why can't you make a movie like that? Or also too, it was making me think of like a Mortal Kombat, where people are just like, what? It's a Mortal Kombat movie. Can't you just turn your brain? It's like anything can be good. Anything. The sixth in a franchise can be good. Like anything can be good. Like whatever it is. And it's 6. Like, well, hell.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. That's too damn bad.
I guess just my point is like anything can be soulless, whether it's a remake or based on a property or anything like that. And this kind of highlights that. It's like this isn't necessary. It is checking boxes, but it's not because it's the 4th or 5th in a franchise where you have to bring in beloved characters. You have to do. It's still just as soulless, standing on its own, you know. And it's like, make good movies, people.
Yeah.
That's the thing is like they are trying to make good movies. They're trying to make movies that are like the most, you can get the most pleasure out of the widest range of people. They're trying to please the widest demographics possible, and that's global. That is global. This movie is going to be released in China. It's going to be released in Japan and all over the world. Yeah. And it has to please as many audiences as possible, because they sink fucking millions and billions of dollars into these things. Yeah. And like, I don't know, man. I think you could have trimmed back some of the effects and still like replaced it with extra time filming, extra time writing, so that the characters work and they are compelling. Right. Otherwise, you end up with a mess. You end up with a fucking mess that is tough to rewatch, and it'll satisfy the least discerning, the children that they are trying to manipulate their money out of. But it's not going to satisfy most people, except for the people who want those check boxes crossed. The Hatbox Ghost, he's in it. The fucking second mansion, it's in it.
That's what blows my mind too, because I would think I might be naive in thinking this, but we recently saw a movie that was using a lot of fun, colorful, spooky practical effects that I thought, man, kids would love the shit out of this because it looks so silly and goofy. And it blows my mind that you could save like the CGI that's like Disney's cranking out these days. It looks boo boo. Like it doesn't look good.
The ghosts in this movie look.
No, I'm living in a nightmare.
Passable, I guess, but like barely. Like they're not special in any way, really.
The more they do it, the worse it looks. Dude, Jamie Lee Curtis looks like a fucking talking corpse. And I understand the irony there, but god damn, that CG looks like so uncanny valley. Yeah. I mean when she's in the orb, not when she's out, she's out. But like when she's in the orb, or like the way that her face moves, I can just see the mocap dots on her face. It's fucking crazy. Why even do that? You just film her face. Just film her face.
No, Randy.
Yeah. It's kind of like the thing of like everybody gets a phone and then everyone just starts cranking the saturation up on all their pictures. It's kind of like where you're like, no, it feels like that where it's like, we got to do this. We got this. This is how it's going to be. This is how we're going to make movies. It's like, it looks like shit. Stop doing that. You could actually save heaps of money and have a better looking product.
I can't
without doing that. Stop doing that. To say for this
episode. And here we are at length bitching.
I mean that's what blows my mind with the whole like even striking thing. It's like you could pay less money to not use these shitty ass effects that I've never heard anyone say, you know what's better? Digital CGI effects. That's what really gets me going.
I've seen the Squid King. It's great.
Yeah. It's just like I don't get it.
Using that as a jumping off point to get to a nitty gritty moment of the movie that bothered me. The CG in the scene that is in your background right now, actually, Juice, the expanding room scene with the expanding and the fucking crocodiles and shit.
And the sand.
That looked like dog shit, dude. That like to whatever like I don't like it. Just really like it didn't pass. It didn't pass the fucking Turing test one bit. It looked like fucking Transformers 2004 or some shit. Like it looked terrible. It didn't look exactly but like that's the quality we're dealing with here. It really, like, for the amount of money they dumped into this, just don't do that. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Just do something different with that. You want that checkbox. I get it. You want that. You know what's scary about that room at the fucking park and what people remember about it is they're in the room and the fucking paintings just slowly start expanding and you're like unsure how it's happening. It's an illusion. Just have that and it spooks the characters. Just have that. Just do that.
Yeah. Make it wide. That was a weird moment because it became very adventure-y. And I'm like, these people are not getting the tone of, I mean, what's so hard about the Haunted Mansion? Like,
they needed Del Toro to film this.
Steal from Scooby-Doo, you sons of bitches.
He was going to.
I don't care.
If you remember.
I know.
Yeah, like a decade ago, Del Toro was in talks to do this.
Oh, really?
Dude, Del Toro, and he made Crimson Peak instead.
He's got tin plates spinning
Much
at
better
any given time. And they were going to have Doug Jones, of course, because Doug Jones was going to be the Hatbox character, and of course it was mostly going to be practical and not CG'd to fuck. Because you've got fucking, 30 Seconds to Mars as the Hatbox ghost or what? You can't see his face at all.
Dude, that's his picture of Dorian Gray. That dude's not aged for 50 years. I'm pretty sure that's what he really looks like. Yeah.
I like that.
That's not CG. That's just mask off. No, but I actually do think like that character, like does character design looked good. I think that the CG wasn't very convincing, but I liked the way the voice in it. I was fine with it. It worked fine, and it was also fan servicey, and I was okay with that level of like a little bit of fan service. It makes sense to have a villain. It makes sense that you would highlight this one particular ghost from the ride. I don't know why it's that particular ghost necessarily, but whatever. Like the thing is, like there is story and lore around both and all haunted mansions, and they use like little bits of it here and there, but they rewrote a lot of it. And the Hatbox Ghost was not in the fucking ride for like 40 years, and they just added him back in like 10 years ago because people were begging for it because the The internet sleuths were desperate to see this Hatbox Ghost, so they finally like worked him back in. And now he's the fucking lead villain of this movie. And you know, the lore of his character is kind of compelling a little bit, but they fucking don't spend enough time with it. They don't like really show the results of what he did, in my opinion, not well enough. And I don't know, the whole thing just sort of falls apart because there's just too much and too little focus and just so much fucking random shit thrown into the mix for spectacle only. This is a haunted house movie where the haunted effects we have seen done perfectly practically, and it scares people. It makes people spooked out. It's exactly what people want. Why not check that fucking box instead of that fucking action adventure box?
Why don't you hire
in the fucking ride for the movie? Yeah.
Or even I watched that fucking documentary about the people who make the fucking Disney cruise, and they're like sculpting all these things. It's like, why don't you hire some talented motherfuckers to come in here and make some cool ass shit? Like, you've got the resources.
They do, but they conceal it with shit CGI and like
shitty
and
scripts.
Terrible jokes that make you roll your eyes so much you can't fucking see anything.
Is I feel bad for the CG artists too, and not to say like, because I know what kind of unrealistic types of schedules they're given, and the types of shit where they'll have to generate 10 different things because things get switched constantly. Like you said, it's not one person's vision, it's literally things are like changed and added. Redo it, make it look like this and change it. So like, I'm not knocking that, but the thing is that happens constantly, and it constantly looks like shit. It's just like, it's cheaper to do practical.
Like a lot of times these days that's true. And the thing is,
it just takes more planning.
It's just not as easy. It's not as easy for the people who are paying for it. It is hard as shit for the people on the ground who are working 12-hour shifts trying to get this fucking one frame done. You know, like it's an insane amount of work that like there's a huge problem with animation being undervalued in Hollywood right now, especially CG. So, I mean, well, not especially, but like within the confines of what's being made, that is underpaid. That is overworked. Those people don't get like almost no residuals as I recall.
Yeah.
That's another strike.
It doesn't sound like fucking anybody gets residuals anymore.
Yeah. Well, if they do, it's like minuscule.
You've been on the Haunted Mansion ride, Randy?
Yeah. I've ridden both North American Haunted Mansions.
I've only done the one in Orlando. It's fun. Like it's a fun ride.
I've only done the one in Orlando too.
Yeah.
It's an aesthetic trip. I enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's also, I have fond memories from being a childhood, and that makes me the target audience for this fucking movie.
That's what's weird too, because it's split. Like you said, the widest audience. And that was what was weird to me too. It's because as an adult, you know, that again, people who grew up watching Disney, they're looking for the horror. I'm not looking for Danny DeVito. You know, I'm not looking for. Well, I mean,
I'm kidding.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm looking for that Disney magic.
Yeah.
And instead, it just feels like this corporate shell.
Here's shit that you'll recognize.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't care about that. And I feel bad because I feel like for kids, it's like, I know what movies, not even necessarily just strictly Disney, but I mean, these motherfuckers are spending more than fucking Spielberg did on things like Jurassic Park. And that is a timeless thing that lives on. And, you know, I think fondly, you know, back on things like Hook and just like a world that is occupied with interesting characters and danger and excitement. And like, man, this is just like computer generated shit. It feels cold. It feels soulless. And that bums me out more than anything for fucking kids that should be getting movies that have heart in them. You know?
I agree with that statement. I don't know. I think we're kind of just repeating ourselves already. Let's go ahead and rate this thing out of 5.
3 old men bitch for an hour.
Yeah, we talked about the actual movie for like maybe 50% of that.
Maybe. Brandy, why don't you kick us off out of 5? How you feel?
All right, I'm going to rate the state of the film industry instead of this movie. Okay?
Do that.
No, I'm not doing that. So yeah, like everything we've said, like this is a movie that's designed to appeal to as many people as possible across all kinds of different cultures. It's uses stunt to achieve that. It uses stunt casting, big ass spectacles that don't need to be big ass spectacles, a quick ass turnaround so they can make that Halloween streaming release, like somebody said, and check boxes of fan service that they know people are going to want to see, know people are going to be thrilled about, know people are going to like jab their wife in the ribs and say, hey, I know what that's about. You want me to tell you about that? Like that sort of shit, like Easter egg central, like that is what they're selling here. It's nostalgia for a vastly superior product in my opinion. And ultimately, I don't think that I have a little bit of softness for this because it like, people could say the same thing about Hocus Pocus. They certainly said the same thing about Hocus Pocus 2. We did. But like Hocus Pocus 1, it kind of had similar problems maybe, but it had a real sort of like lived in aesthetic to what Bob was saying. It seemed like a place. And so when fucking the 100-year-old witch tells a kid to pull over, let me see your driver's license, it's okay. It doesn't matter. It's kind of funny. It's kind of stupid. But because the world feels fleshed out, because the characters have some sort of pathos, not much, but something that makes you like endeared to them instead of just shifting focus from one of like 7 characters at all times and constantly moving and constantly fucking moving. It works better than this movie. So I don't know. This feels like mining people's nostalgia for gold, which is Disney's specialty. And they used to be much better at it. And that's the honest to God truth. They used to be better at it. People, when they release like Hercules or even fucking Lion King, those original movies, like those were based on other things. That was based on Hamlet. It was based on fucking Greek myths. Fucking Pocahontas is based on American history, poorly, I might add. And fucking like they're building and like the entire film, like full feature length department of Disney was created on the backs of fucking Grimm's fairy tales that have been in the public lexicon for hundreds of years. So like they're mining people's familiar things that are familiar to people for gold, and they've been doing that for a long time, and they've done it way more successfully in the past. Sometimes they failed, sometimes they've succeeded, but when the Disney magic, as Justin puts it, like when that really hits, it sticks with people. And sometimes when it doesn't hit quite that well, it still sticks with people because they will cram it down your child's throat for the next fucking 10 years of their life until they're fond of it anyway. That's what happened with me with Hocus Pocus. I didn't give a shit about that as a kid. It took 15 years of fucking 31 Days of Halloween for me to give a shit about that movie.
Damn.
And now I do. And I like the movie and I have fondness for it and I have nostalgia for it. And it works a little bit better than I think this one does, even with the time gap. I'm sure that in 15 years, I won't feel the same way that I do about this movie that I did about Hocus Pocus. Anyway, that's a long rambling session just say that this
it's a long
ramp.
It is.
That's the best ramp, is a long ramp. No, I think that this movie is pretty poor. I think it's pretty soulless. I think it's, when it's at its best, it's aesthetically pleasing. It's a little bit funny. It's got a nice, like, it is nice to see some of the lore checkboxed, I won't lie, but it can't be the only thing that's left at the end of the day. It has to have more than that. And this movie doesn't spend enough time to give us more than that. So for me, I think I'm going to give it a 1.5.
All right. 1.5 from Randeezy. Juice, what about you?
Oh, Bob. So yeah, this film is artistically bankrupt. I think that's the best way to kind of describe it, because that they like, and this is kind of the most dangerous version of it, where we're looking and it's like there's no one specifically to kind of blame. It's just this big blobless fucking mess of bullshit kind of thrown together. These are amazing actors that should be doing a good job. This is a studio that has the money to make things look great. And to be fair, since we just shat all over this, I'll give some positives. I like setting it in New Orleans. That's great. That's a great setting. And there's some moment, the opening scene where we see the kind of funeral they're playing, and then the end where you get some. They should have just set it around Halloween anyways.
Those
what
are the best
fuck are
parts.
You doing?
The very
yeah, what are you
beginning
doing?
and the very end. Yeah.
Yeah, but even still, there's like a fucking old Ben's got some serious drip. I loved his outfits. Like they're putting these like aesthetic pieces in that I'm like, okay, yeah. And Ben was the best character to me. And I wish that like that had just been kind of given. I wish that they had done an equally good job with the kid, and not to knock the kid as an actor. It's the way that this film is written completely. But I wish that heart was there, because I felt it almost with Ben. You know, he does get that moment where he's talking about his wife, even though he's got to drop a fucking Baskin Robbins line. You know, he does have some moments where they're almost as that heart. And I see, like, I felt like it almost could have been there. But I like Ben, the character, generally. He's definitely the best for me. And then like some of the ghost designs, you know, like the nautical ghost, like could have been cool. I like that they brought that aspect into it. And like some of the ghosts could have been cool. I'm like trying to be a little positive.
That's extreme fidelity to the ride too. A lot of that stuff.
Yeah. Which I'm okay with. That's the thing. If if I'm going into a haunted mansion ride, I know you're gonna do shit from the ride. Like or a haunted mansion movie, I know you're gonna do shit from the ride. Like. That's okay. I like, you know, same thing with I think Pirates of the Caribbean is a fantastic movie that was made after the heyday or whatever of Disney, that has a lot of magic and has great characters and like pulls things from the ride where people go, oh, look, it's like the ride. And that's fine. That's okay. You can do that. This movie, it's just it's for 2 hours, it's inexcusable to be so empty. It's just like, I'm trying to think of some even special kind of moments in a 2-hour film, and there's just not a lot.
Was 2 hours, damn.
Yeah, I think I'll echo Randy and just say this is a 1.5 for, I think, like Ben, was probably the best character. Some of the aesthetics of like setting and like just the spookiness of a house, and then a lot of the things that they pull from the ride and stuff are the things that work best. But yeah, this is just mostly just soulless crap.
I was not the fan of Lake Keith's performance that you were, or not even his performance, just that character, really. Because the performance, I don't think that he was I think like the stunt casting bit him in the ass there for my money. Because like as much as I love Lakeith, like, and he's doing his job, he's doing whatever, but like I think for the kind of movie they're clearly trying to make here, it's clearly trying to be an action adventure to sort of like using the aesthetics of horror in a Scooby-Doo kind of sense.
Yeah.
So but he is not big enough for that. Like as an actor, like he's not like. He doesn't have a big presence. He's too soft spoken.
But to be fair on this, to be fair, that's kind of nice when you have a movie that wants to be in your face. I think that's the thing, is it kind of like goes against the like, see how wacky and zany this is.
Yeah, but it shouldn't come at the cost of like charisma for the lead. That's
yeah, I liked him. I don't know. I like the more kind of like subdued. He's got a great voice and just so I was more on. He
does have a great voice.
I just like him as an actor, just the way I like everybody else in this movie. But he's just not like everybody else. He's not given enough to do. So it falls flat.
All right, Bob, your time to shine. Out of 5, my guy.
Hello. Yeah, Lakeith, I mean, he's barely got a character to like portray here. He's got more of a character than anybody else. I think that's why, Juice, you like him as much as you do. And it's probably my favorite character because he's like the only one that kind of feels like a character at all. The rest
they
of them
abandoned that fucking Mike. Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting, but like they completely abandoned like his whole reason for being there really early, which is the camera thing. I thought they would bring that back or something, or like work it, like use it somehow.
At a certain point, you just
falls the fuck apart.
You just see the ghosts everywhere, so like it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, they just become
you just see
corporeal. Like,
so yeah, what the fuck is the point of that? Like, why does he have to be an astrophysicist? Like he could just run a ghost tour, and like that would be it, right? We'll go get the ghost tour. Well,
he needs an arc.
Bring him over or whatever. Yeah, I guess he
just
doesn't
don't think it
believe,
worked.
and now he believes. Yeah,
they need to spend less time with like other people.
Nobody really has much of an arc in this movie, other than like I used to teach and now I don't, but at the end I'm going to teach again. And like I'm not a priest, but I used to pretend I was. But then I got ordained online, and now it's like I also like had an issue with like the kid is trying the ghosty, the Hatbox Ghost, trying to trick him into like crawling into this hole in the ground and offering up his soul, I guess, to be the 1000th soul. And Ben talks him out of it, and then like 5 minutes later, the Hatbox Ghost is doing the same thing with Ben. He's like, "Don't you want to be with your wife?" And he's like, "Fuck, now I'm really thinking about it." And it's like, but you know better.
I don't even want to be around anymore.
Because you just talked the kid out of it. Like, why are you all of a sudden entertaining this same proposition that you know is dog shit? Like, why are we going back and forth?
Yeah.
Shitty
He could have threatened... Yeah, he could have threatened the kid's life and the mom's life from the beginning and just had Lake Keith... Like, they keep doing this like, oh, no, he's really after the kid. Oh, no, he really was after... Like, it's like, this is not necessary. Just fucking... This is not necessary.
You've got these two characters that are grieving.
It's not working.
And it's just like a copy-paste thing where like, nothing really comes from it, and it sucks. The effects are like passable, I guess. They're fine. It's too long. It's too boring. It feels like a video game where the goal is to go room to room, and then you find a map, and then you find a secret room, and then you find an orb, and then you talk to the person in the orb, and then you get to the next room, and you go to the next mansion, and then you get the hat, and then you come back, and it's just like you're collecting all the bullshit and going and inspecting all the rooms, and at the end, you wasted 2 hours of your life, but you beat the game, I guess. It's like there's just nothing really to get out of watching this movie, if I'm being honest, other than like a really solid nap. I guess if you're a huge nerd about the ride, you probably would be able to pick up on some stuff that I didn't. I don't know if that's going to justify a 2-hour movie where the ride is like maybe 5 minutes or something. Like, I don't know. Those rides are pretty short. Yeah, I don't know. I think we pretty much said it all. It's a 1.5 for me as well. Our aggregate is a 1.5.
Boys, back-to-back weeks where we are all on the same page, just opposite ends of the spectrum.
All good to all bad. Oh boy,
we are homogenizing. By the way,
we got spoiled.
We are the blob. Let's jump into a Rotten Tomatoes segment and see what the critics and users think about Haunted Mansion.
Certified.
All right, ladies and germs, this is the Rotten Tomatoes segment in which I'm going to have these gentlemen guess within the best of their abilities what the aggregate positive score is for both critics and users on RottenTomatoes.com for the Haunted Mansion. I'm always phrasing that as always such a pain in the ass. You have to have it's in 3 places, but not all of them are real places. It's tough to say. It's in this movie. It's on this website. And it's positive reviews.
You're killing it.
Jesus Christ. Hey.
I mean, what? It's only been like 9 years.
Yeah. You'll get it
You'll get there.
I'm just going to keep fiddling with it. And one day, maybe it'll work. This is going to be my unfinished business when I'm dead. Anyway. So that's a very good joke, Bob. You should get that on a t-shirt.
Thanks.
Haunted Mansion, here we go. There are 196 reviews available for the critical score. So I'm going to start with Juice today. Juice, where do you think that the aggregate positive score is for the critics? 196 reviews now.
I don't think people are going to be as tough as we are. I think people have that mentality. It's frustrating, but at the same time, I have to like kind of keep myself in check, I guess, where, kind of like the same Mortal Kombat thing. It's like, what? It's a movie for kids. Oh, what? It's based on a ride. What do you expect? It's like, motherfucker, I expect Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, come on. The fuck are you talking about? But in that way, I think people will be kind of like softer on it than we are, but I still think it's going to be pretty capped. I don't know. So I'll say 56.
56 from Juice. Bob, where are you going to land on this one? Or where do you think the critics will land on this one?
I think that's a fair way to think about it. I was in my head just thinking 50 right down the middle, so I'll go with that.
All right, 50 down the middle. Well, gentlemen, there is a 10-point difference between the correct answer and the best answer that you guys gave. It's actually a 40%, which means Bob's going to take this one.
Okay.
All right.
Well, there you go.
Still not as harsh as us.
True. Yeah.
True, but closer.
Closer.
Can I get a Hellscape?
You were very harsh this time.
Hellscape, Mom.
Ooh.
I'm okay to see like scores to reflect that. That's it. Wow.
When I was looking at
All
trivia
right.
for this movie, one of the pieces of trivia somebody wrote down was that Owen Wilson didn't say wow. It's like, that's not trivia.
God,
It's not.
dude, community editing is a mistake. Anyway, let's
Leave
move
it
on
to the elites like us.
Yes, the knowledgeable. We'll
The
bring it to
keepers
the
of the
masses.
knowledge.
Can't let these plebeians tell people what is trivial.
Wow.
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 There are 1,000 plus of verified ratings for this film for the users. Juice, how do you think the users are going to land on this one? 1,000 plus verified ratings.
Oh, the oozers. This will probably be higher. I assume people are taking their kids. And my mentality is if the kids are happy, then the parents are happy because they just want them to shut the fuck up for 2 hours. So shut up. Just shut the fuck up.
Trying to take a nap.
So I could say it would go as high. I still think it's going to be capped though, but I'll say it's going to go as high as maybe like 60%.
Shut the fuck up.
There you go.
60% from Juice.
The
Bob,
best.
are you going to take the over, the under? What you thinking?
Oh, it's the best bump we have. Yeah, I think it's going to be higher as well because you got Disney nerds for sure and yeah, happy parents and shit. Ooh, 60. I'm going to go under still, I think. I'll take a 55.
55. All right, there's a 24-point discrepancy between the winning number and the correct number. It is actually 84%.
Damn.
positive.
Oh no!
The culture.
Jesus Christ! Oh Jesus Christ!
Jesus Christ.
Oh hell yeah!
What a reluctant hell yeet it is.
Oh, man.
That's one for
Yeah,
the
that's that is one for the culture. God damn, I don't even think this movie's out in Korea, so don't blame it on us.
Dude, when we
Us
watched
Koreans.
Let's blame it on the critics whose negative reviews I will read now. Actually, let's first read the critical consensus.
Bob has something
sorry.
hilarious to say.
I just got it's a random non sequitur. It's been a while since I've seen like a children's movie in the theater because I don't have kids. We walked in the theater and like passed by the trash can that's like right by the entrance, the doorway. Clearly, like some kid had shit their pants and somebody threw the shitty pants in there. We walked by and I was like, it smells like human shit. Human shit.
Oh no!
Greeted us as we walked into the theater.
Wow. We don't like that.
Sucks. Did you see it at Sunray, Bob?
No, we went to Tinseltown to watch it.
Dude, I always just remember that time when I was still training at the theater and some kid threw up in Chicken Little and the guy training me just told me to sweep it under the seat. That will live in my mind forever.
Man, there's no better reason to not think about anything that's controlled by teenagers and commerce.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
remember somebody shit in a urinal when we were working at Regal, and one of the managers told me to go pick it up. And I was like, no, I make $5 an hour. You can just fire me if you want to. I'm not.
That's
picking up
exactly
human
right.
Shit.
That's the correct response.
Yeah.
Dude,
wait for the. Yeah.
That's the, like they put
Just
teenagers in
whittle
charge
down.
and then underpay the shit out of them and think this is going to go great.
Yeah, no, I'll just leave. Like,
I am the queen.
I have no responsibility,
Yeah.
sir.
You can
Yeah.
keep
You
the
think
$5.
I need this
you know?
job? Think I'm paying my rent with this shit?
I'm not.
Unfortunately. Anyway. Critics' consensus reads as follows. Haunted Mansion's talented cast makes the movie a pleasant enough destination, although it's neither scary nor funny enough to wholeheartedly recommend. And now for the audience says segment, something we don't always get. Haunted Mansion is a fun blend of horror and comedy with a great cast and a story that'll be extra entertaining for fans of the ride that inspired it. Oof. Now we're going to read some negative reviews because they tend to be funniest. Here's one. It feels like a cash grab. I was bored. Bored.
Yep.
3 boards.
Agree.
Yep.
Actually 4.
That was written by Bob.
Yeah, that was written by Bob's id.
Not yet.
I fell asleep.
5 stars. Best nap of my life.
Speaking of, please go give us a review over on iTunes so that we can
further sully the scores.
So we can write on Rotten Tomatoes.
Here's one more. The film grinds to a halt every time it deviates from the fun and games of the children's horror movie and plunges into a 5-minute monologue about dead spouses or regret or the ethics of the con men.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I mean, you got to give some heart to somebody or like some reason to somebody.
You know what? I would be fine spooky bullshit that's not related or grounded to anything in reality.
Yeah. Honestly, though, that's kind of partially what you were asking for like the kid. Like, I kind of imagine Bart and Lisa rolling around fucking Dracula burns his castle and shit. Like,
yeah.
They should have some of that, and like not at the expense of character arcs, certainly, but like I kind of see that point to where it's like at least then it's fully just a kids movie and just embrace
that's the thing. That's the thing. If they wanted to make this a kids movie, then sure, that's what they should have done. But there's one kid in this movie, so
there's the same number of Frank Reynolds as children in this movie.
Yeah.
So I start blasting.
And the kid is the timid one. He's the one who doesn't want to explore. He's the one that doesn't want to fucking.
I don't know if this ghost wants my money or if it wants something more sexual, so I just started blasting.
Fucking God. So I just start blasting. Yeah. Here's a negative user review just for balance. If Disney was in charge of hell, this would be what it would be like. 2 hours of extreme torture, but feels like an eternity. 1 star.
That's brutal.
That's pretty harsh.
Start being more extreme with my reviews.
Yeah.
It's not a 1 star unless you wish somebody dead.
I need to start being a little more colorful.
Unless you hope that your life will be taken from you, truly 1 star.
Watching this movie is like being in hell.
Watching this movie is like having your nutsack crushed by a fucking bear. I don't know.
By a bear.
I don't know. That's the improv.
He wants my nuts.
Yeah. This bear wants my nuts. Yes, this is terrible. Go on. Moving on. This is the end of the Rotten Tomatoes segment. Thank you for joining. You are the 1,000th ghost. Goodbye.
Bear wants my nuts. They're Cajun boiled. Which are the best.
He wants my bald penis.
My bald penis. He can smell it a mile away. My bald penis.
My Cajun bald penis.
This is the hard-hitting commentary that Rotten Tomatoes needs.
This is the color. We're adding color.
Watching this movie is like a bear trying to get your boiled penis.
Your Cajun boiled penis.
Exactly like that. Holy shit.
I was thinking that. Yeah. I just couldn't put it into words.
My feelings entirely.
These guys, they're really speaking for the people. These
clearly not.
Chilling
after
moments.
After those Rotten Tomato scores, some people certainly
20% of the,
but not the extreme people and not the forgiving people. Somewhere else in there.
We got more shit to do. We got a little bit of trivia. Let's go ahead and get into it.
It's totally time for trivia.
Okay, yeah, there's like some Easter eggs in here that went over my head, but I'll roll through them here. So Gracie Manor is modeled, Randy, you mentioned this actually. It's modeled after the original Disneyland Haunted Mansion. Crump Manor is modeled after Magic Kingdom's Haunted Mansion at Walt Disney World. So you get both of them in this one movie.
Got to promote them both.
The chair in which Harriet is seated at the spirit session, and in which she's later expelled from, yada yada, is modeled off the ride vehicles called Doom Buggies.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Doom Buggies. Hold on, I think that I'm gonna try and predict one here, or if not, just like have it in my back pocket. I'm pretty sure that like 90 to 100% of the ghosts in this are featured in some place in the actual ride. I think there's like some pretty high fidelity to the actual ride in terms of like what they're pulling. I don't think they pull a whole lot of elements that aren't found in one or both of the rides.
That might be true, but I don't know. I didn't see that specifically.
Okay, I wasn't sure if they would bring that up because like the Mariner is certainly in there. They show like the woman who turns into a cat in the painting, the fucking knight's outfit. Like all those things are in the ride. Like just about every element in this is in the ride in some form or another, even down to the sets, which is why they look so cool. And until they start CGing the shit out of them.
Yeah. The namesake of William Gracie and the Gracie Manor stems from Yale Gracie, who is a Disney Imagineer and member of the Academy of Magical Arts. Yale was the one who created a modernized version of the Pepper's Ghost Illusion, which is how they make the ghosts in the rides. He showed Disney and he loved it, and yada yada. The Haunted Mansion rides came from that, basically.
Nice.
Which I don't know. Maybe that's like hard to film, but like, why didn't they just use that?
It's not. Pepper's Ghost Effect is best when you're like there. Like it really is kind of an in-person effect.
Yeah.
Because all it is like it's a trick of mirrors and windows.
Yeah.
The dancing that you see in the ballroom when you're in the ride, that's all Pepper's Ghost Effect.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, it really doesn't like it would just look like the footage that they're like it would just look footage of mannequins with a blue tint to it. Otherwise, it would be very easy to clock. However, I don't think that would be such a bad thing. Like,
you just got
if that's
clocked
what they look like instead of like the smoky
Randu clocked your
CG
asshole.
nonsense. Like, just, I don't think that you need that. I think you just like have like a semi-transparent blue thing. Like, it doesn't need
Randy, as soon as I
vapors.
become CEO of Disney, you're hired.
Hell,
There are effects, man.
yes.
You're gonna be
Like nothing I'd ever smelled before in my life.
Randy's our full-time clocker at
Yeah.
Disney Corp. A U-Haul truck is shown with a skeletal depiction of Dr. Facilier, who is apparently a shadow man from The Princess and the Frog. I have not seen that film. Actually, I think I have,
Oh,
but I don't remember what it looks like.
he's
Wait,
he's the
what did it
Papa
say
Legba
that?
stand-in.
Say that again.
On the U-Haul truck they use when they move into the house, there's
Oh, okay.
an image on it that's the shadow man, Dr. Facilier.
That's
gotcha.
interesting because
I
like
gotcha.
he's based on Papa Legba, who is like a New Orleans
Ghost or well.
thing, like
Yeah.
Interesting.
or a voodoo thing anyway.
Voodoo doctor,
The-
witch doctor.
The character names, William Gracie and Alistair Crump, are named after Yale Gracie and Raleigh Crump. I guess Raleigh Crump was just another Imagineer. So yeah, same bit.
Okay.
Same bit really. The original design, I didn't know, this is kind of cool. The original design of the Hatbox Ghost was inspired by Lon Chaney in the silent film London After Midnight, which is now, it's a lost film. You cannot see it, but we have some still images. That's dope. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
And based on what I found on Box Office Mojo, this had a $90 million budget, and so far worldwide it's gross $182 million. So it's making some cash. There you go.
God, if there's a sequel to this thing, may just
Yeah.
oof.
Yep.
all
Should
right.
we do Cooter of the Week? Like, I don't know. Like, there's really a Cooter.
I
in
think
this.
there is a Cooter.
Okay, well, let's do it. We're doing it.
All right, we're doing it.
Straight chillin'. Cooter of the week.
Juice. What is a Cooter, and why do we hunt them?
Oh, Cooter's character type in a straight chillin' exclusive. Cooter must hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a Cooter, but we want the Cooter with the most points. The 5 points of Cooterdom are sexual deviance, manipulation, smug arrogance, overall look and attire, and overall patheticness. Don't be a Cooter, kids. Randy, you seem to have a strong opinion about this, so why don't you take the lead? Who you got for Cooter of the week?
I mean, I don't think this is a movie that's lousy with Cooters, but I do believe that the Hatbox Ghost, the way he's written, is clearly pretty Cootery.
All right.
Let's start with the manipulation. He manipulates not just the humans in this human characters in this film, but also all of the ghosts. He both brainwashes and holds a gun to their head, so to speak, and blackmails them into basically being trapped in his little horror show.
He's just
and he
cracking
does
the
so
whip,
out of-
you know. He's keeping the peace. He's keeping everyone in line, you know. He's
he's a real good caregiver.
It's what we call an alpha, you know. He's just
Thank God for him.
He should have been played by Andrew Tate. That's what I say. Actually, Jared Leto is
Pretty
interesting.
allegedly close, right?
Allegedly. Yeah, so manipulation high on the charts. Smug arrogance, absolutely through the charts.
He's just
right?
saying what he feels, you know.
And that's okay.
He's revenge oriented.
The bit is done. I'm done. I can't even do it. I'm not gonna do it.
I can't even. That's a first. All right.
So yeah,
I've always been a creeper.
like the kudzu strangling our dicks.
Look and attire. This motherfucker
Looks like
has a hat
shit.
box with his head in it.
Yeah.
So I think that's it's fairly cootery by my standards. I don't know how else to describe that. But maybe macabre and cootery. I think those are the two words that spring to mind.
There you go. Okay.
Patheticness. He's pretty in control of things, but I do think that I don't know, a lifelong and after lifelong goal of just torturing people to death is a little pathetic.
Pretty pathetic.
And
Yeah.
just torturing people in general, like just
Hungry
torturing
for
them.
power.
Goals.
Yeah.
And power hungry. It's pretty pathetic in a kind of a broad sense. Sexual deviancy. This is a family film, so we don't get any explicit undertones there necessarily. But however, I did get heavy duty like Marquis de Sade and Lord Byron vibes from this motherfucker. So I mean, I'm not saying that it counts, but I am saying like in a darker version of this movie, there's probably some of that.
Yeah, when Winona Ryder was talking about that cane being real personal, I was like,
He might be a cooter.
man,
I don't know.
Like, damn, yeah. It's a pretty big cane.
Oh, God, yes. Come with me.
3 legs limping, eh?
God damn.
So yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
Do we feel good about the cooter?
Yeah.
Can we lock him up?
Lock him up.
Jared Leto once again as a cooter.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that guy's got a lot of lockups, I believe.
Does he fall into your Elijah Wood theorem or no?
Probably.
We
have to go.
Me personally, more so than Elijah Wood. Yeah, I would be.
I think he's probably played a cooter type very often in his films, and we could go. I could take a look, but
he's also played
probably.
very sympathetic and like much loved characters like Morbius.
Oh
So,
my
I mean,
god!
Oh yeah, dude. Oh my
yeah.
god. Even when I just pull up his picture, does he have fake fangs? Jesus Christ!
Like in day-to-day life.
Look, you try and stay.
I don't think. Yeah, it looks. Oh my! I don't know. I'm not.
You try
even
keeping
gonna
your
look.
sanity when you're so close to Mars.
I don't think
Oh,
I'd
God.
let him in my house.
Nah, he looks so dirty. He looks like he's just riddled with disease.
He's riddled with disease.
He looks like
He's got like old people skin that's like wax paper. Like, you just poke a hole in it. It's just
he just looks so dirty. So I believe he was
by day and a wild man by night.
He was kind of a cooter type in Fight Club.
yeah, Requiem for a Dream.
Cooter,
Holy
Cooter type in American Psycho. Yeah.
Yeah, American Psycho. Yeah. In the band 30 Seconds from Mars. He's
a lot of
totally
these I
a
haven't
cooter.
I haven't seen a lot of these. Suicide Club. He plays the Joker. Oh my lord.
Oh my god.
Oh man, that's one of the cootery.
Oh
Jokers,
my
too.
god.
That's got is that peak
I hated
cooter
that Joker so much.
Oh my god.
Is there a more cootery Joker? Is my question.
No.
I don't think so.
Jack Nicholson.
He's in a movie called House of Gooch, aka Gucci.
The House of Magooch, guy.
Morbius. Yeah, let's just say
We have other things.
Welcome to Leto
do.
Cast. We're here
Yeah.
keeping watch on the Cooter of the Year.
We got our Cooter of the movie. It's Jared Leto. Surprise. It's Jared Leto.
The man.
That's fine. I'll roll with that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Let's do a quick what we've been watching. Let's hit it up.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
Randeezy, what you been watching?
I did do the Barbie Oppenheimer thing, not the double feature, but I did go see both of those this weekend.
Wow.
Once out of sheer, I saw Oppenheimer just kind of like, I was bored and it fit into my schedule. So like I had a kind of a slow
surprise.
slow Saturday. Yeah, I know. I was shocked too. And it was a damn good movie, but it was like, man, it's very heavy to deal with, subject matter wise. It's like the opposite ends of Threads. It's like, that's a double feature. Jesus Christ. I would just being a ball on the floor.
Lord.
God damn.
Barbie is very fun. I think it's a fun movie. I don't like. I lost the thread on what it was like, kind of like aiming at a couple of times, but I think I've got like generally the gist of it. It's pretty blunt for the most part, which is almost, I think, what threw me a little bit with some of its like core message about personalities and things like that, and being yourself and all that shit, all that good shit. And it's good for kids movies, but it's kind of done in a very not just kids format. In fact, I'd almost say this movie is more for adults than kids. I think that's true, honestly.
I heard the translation into Korean was bad, and like Koreans were like, I don't understand what the fuck is going on.
Dude, that's not surprising because it's hard to understand in English, because like the way they disseminate how the Barbie world works is they do a lot. They do some telling, but like they try and do some show not tell, and some of it's like, oh, I have to like get up to speed with how these people are talking right now and how they see each other and see themselves. It takes a little figuring out. And then I also saw Guardians 3 for the first time this week. And it was fine. It was good. I liked the Rocket Raccoon stuff. The rest of it was fine. Some interesting set pieces. And that's supposed to be the great one that came out this year. So I will probably not be checking out the other Marvel movies from this year, or shows, certainly.
Yeah, I've been taking my break.
Yeah. The last thing I'm going to plug is a podcast, which as anybody who listens to this show knows, I rarely listen to any podcast, certainly not this one. But there is one that I have been listening to, like 5 or 6 episodes, called 60 Songs That Explain the 90s. And it's just like deep dives into specific songs that were hot shit on the radio in the 90s. And it goes well past 60 episodes. So it seems like they've just kind of like continued. It sounded like it started during COVID and just became a successful podcast. So I think it's pretty fun. There's a lot of meandering discussion about genre and like different bands, some of which I've never heard of. I really like that show. I listen to the No Doubt one. It's pretty great. Somebody recommended that specific one to me, and that's where I would recommend other people jump in as well. Very accessible, very fun, and very ska heavy, which is a plus from my end.
Hell yeah.
Pick it up.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
That's it for me.
That's it. Juice, what you been watching?
Oh, I've actually been able to watch some things apart from all the shit we've been watching at the festival. But I finally was able to watch the entirety of The Bear season deuce. And I like that one a lot more than the first. I mean, the first one I said it ended up wrapping up really well, and I liked it. But
you like
season
the
2
Bear
just
Deuce.
I like the Bear Deuce. It's,
Marcus and Richie for best arcs.
Dude,
yeah, it just actually in the first one it was all chaos all the time and really stressful, and then this one there was good beats of positive things and like more peaceful moments in the kitchen and like artistic shots of like the crazy food and stuff. So, and then oh my god, that fucking I know the Christmas episode. Oh my lord, oh damn, yeah. But that shit was on point, on point.
Some good shit for sure.
Yeah, I finally got to watch John Wick 4, and that shit was awesome. Might be my favorite of the series. The whole that's a long ass movie too, but the whole like first just 1 hour is this awesome sequence in this Osaka hotel that is just fucking amazing. It's like the most fun I've had watching a movie in a long time. It was just pure fun for an hour straight. It was like, I really love the aesthetic of that movie. The sequences are fantastic. It was so much fun. I really enjoyed John Wick 4. I want to watch it again. Wow. Yeah, I watched Mighty Ducks throwback. I mentioned a couple weeks ago, maybe last week, I watched Homeward Bound. So I've been on this kick of kind of watching some older 90s feel good films. At least once a week, and it was good, but I think it's on the lower end for me of those kinds of movies. Going back and visiting it, it's a little thinner on the overall plot. I think I'm definitely more of like a Little Giants kind of guy. Sandlot, definitely better. I haven't seen Big Green in a hot minute, but I like it. It was good, but it's it's on the lower end, I think.
Get on that heavyweights train, my guy.
Hell
I need to watch Heavyweights. And then also it's talking about shit CGI. So I did it. I watched The Flash, which really what I wanted was I wanted to see Michael Keaton as Batman. And to be fair, I will say that is by far the best part, and it's a sizable part. And they essentially talking about being artistically bankrupt. Everything else in that movie looks like the hottest garbage you can imagine. But everything that's based on like Tim Burton looks great. They're able to kind of like they need some type of artistic vision to bring to life. Otherwise, it's just garbage.
No, we just need butts and seats, Juice. Butts and seats.
That, I mean, I will say the Batman stuff, it was fun, and they brought it back, and they got the music, and there's like some cool fight sequences where you get Michael Keaton's Batman like kicking some ass, and it's just cool to see it. It is. I'm not gonna lie, but the rest of it, not.
Can I ask a question about it?
Yeah.
Could Michael Keaton turn his head in this movie?
Okay, well, that's the thing where it's amazingly, it's the only, I guess maybe they work it in. So he's doing some like crazy fight sequences, but not like over the top fight sequences. And they keep the same kind of look, but it looks a lot more like flexible. Yeah. Like, I don't know. So you notice it when he's like just walking where it looks like it's kind of stiff, but when he moves, it doesn't seem to be a problem. So yeah, it looks great. Honestly, with the music, the old school music, and he's got his fucking plane and he's using his grappling hook and shit. It looked cool. I'm not going to lie. It was fucking cool, but it was the only good part about that.
He's lying.
I'm lying. Talking about podcasts, though, I was kind of recommending to Bob before the cast is this whole year. I can't believe I haven't mentioned it until now, but this whole year I started in, or they even started in the winter time, like February-ish, maybe. And it's an Arctic Monkeys podcast by two guys who pretty much like grew up with the Arctic Monkeys, like at their kind of same age when they blew up with their first album. Even their like demos coming out, they're around like the same area in England, and they go song by song, starting like with the first album, and just do each episode is a song. And at this point, they are almost done with the second album, Favorite Worst Nightmare, and they do all the B-sides too, which is fantastic because Arctic Monkeys have a shit ton of B-sides. So they do literally every song in chronological order, and it's called Don't Believe the Hype. It's just two buddies, and they've been friends for a long time, and so that kind of shines through, and I really enjoyed it, and it's really made me listen to like a shit ton of Arctic Monkeys this year too, because every year I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't listened to a song, and like and they do a deep dive. It's like an hour and a half episode on one song. It's been really good. They do a good job. So shouts outs to them, kind of reigniting my love for the Monkeys, and yeah, they're doing great stuff. So Don't Believe the Hype. Check that out if you're a Monkeys fan.
Aside from the boys at Project 86, that was your band.
That was back in the day. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's all I've been watching and listening to. Bob, what you been watching, my guy?
Hello. A few things. I wanted to talk about They Cloned Tyrone for a second. It's a Netflix joint, and it is fucking a good original Netflix movie, which are kind of few and far between here lately. John Boyega's in this. It's very much a like modern day blaxploitation movie. It's got like heavy sci-fi stuff going on, a little bit of action adventure happening. I don't want to like get into the plot. Just I recommend it. It's got a lot of comedy and a lot of sci-fi. The themes are horrific, but it's not a horror movie. It's like a 2-hour long Netflix joint that doesn't overstay its welcome. I feel like the runtime is warranted, and it's just extremely fucking fun and entertaining, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Watch it.
Cool.
Recommend Righteous Gemstones season 3 just wrapped. And it's still hilarious. Yeah.
Oh yeah, good.
Consistently hilarious. There's like they bring in a monster truck, and it's just a fucking character in this season. That monster truck is everywhere. It's It's hilarious. It's a great show. It's on HBO. It's David Gordon Green doing shit that doesn't suck.
It's your favorite director.
My boy.
Yeah, boy. All 3 seasons are good. Watch that fucking show. It's funny as shit. There's just so many dicks in that show. Just fucking full frontal. It is hilarious.
We're hunting for dick.
We found him.
Also, the Righteous Gemstone.
It's the Righteous Gemstone. Dude, the fucking Keith character is my favorite.
Dude, I was going to say, that dude cracks me up.
So fucking
Is he the guy who's like the baby guys?
No.
I've only seen like one episode.
It's like the goth guy who has been saved by Christianity.
Yeah. That's who I think.
He's kind of like a child.
The guy lives in the pool house or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Fucking cracks me up, dude.
Me too.
This one episode where he's just like eating a piece of cheese, standing outside, just wearing a shirt and nothing else, and the shirt's like shorter than he thinks it is, and his dick's just fucking hanging out. He's shirt cocking it, eating a piece of cheese. Fucking love that shit.
Well, I love that.
I also watched a couple more movies by way of our friend G Baby's podcast, Waxing the Porpoise. So shouts outs to Waxing the Porpoise. There was like a very light debate about whether or not a movie called Orca is better than Jaws, and I was like,
my Lord.
there's just no way. I had, full disclosure, not seen Orca until this week. I watched it for the first time. I feel like my assumption is correct. It is absolutely not a better movie than Jaws. It is substantially worse, I would say.
What?
But they recently reviewed it on their show, and I listened to their review, and a couple people on there did find it to be better than Jaws. A couple people found it to be worse, which I find to be a little mind-blowing, but that's fine. Opinions are what they are.
No, they're not, Bob.
Fraudulent is what they are.
Fraudulent. I also watched a movie called Nocturnal Animals for the first time because they recommended checking it out. They're going to be reviewing it soon as well. It's also on Netflix. I wasn't even like trying to hunt it down. I was just scrolling on Netflix and I was like, oh, fuck. So I threw it on. Good ass movie. It's Jake Gyllenhaal, Sleeper to me anyway. Maybe y'all have seen it. Have you guys seen this?
Jake Gyllenhaal's got a lot of sleepers.
Yeah.
He does. He's out there working, dude.
He is. Christ. Yeah, and like surprisingly under the radar because he's fantastic.
It's always
honestly.
Good. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Amy Adams is in
I haven't
this.
seen that now.
Oh wow!
Michael Shannon is in this.
Holy shit!
It's a banger.
Michael Shannon is also everywhere, by the way.
Yeah,
I
also killing it most of the time.
Yeah,
dude,
for the most part.
This movie, it's a weird way to tell a story. It's about Amy Adams. She is she receives a manuscript in the mail from her ex-husband. She has since been remarried. And a good half of the story, if not more, is her reading through the manuscript, and you just see what happens being acted out as she's reading it. And then it'll jump back into like present day where she's living her life and talking to her new husband in this gorgeous house. And then she'll also have flashbacks to where she was married to the dude that sent her the manuscript and how they met and got married and all that stuff. So there's like 3 different timelines kind of happening all at the same time. And the manuscript that she's reading is about this dude whose wife and daughter get murdered, and he is seeking justice by way of Michael Shannon, who is a detective, and shit gets nuts, gets wild. It's fucking great. Really enjoyed it. Super bleak. Great performances. It's on Netflix. Nocturnal Animals. Check it out. That's it. That's what I've been watching. We do have one voicemail to get into, so let's hit up our Hotline Screams.
Hotline Scream.
If you are listening and want to call and leave a voicemail to be featured on next week's show, hit us up at 904-638-3231. We got a voicemail from our friend the librarian calling in with her top 5 films of the year so far. Let's hear what she's got to say.
Hey, boys. So I'm calling in with my top 5 2023 releases. Coming in at number 5, we do have Talk to Me. Loved it. Number 4, Infinity Pool. Number 3, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Number 2 is Barbie. And number 1, drumroll please, is Beau is Afraid. I saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles last night. It was just so freaking wholesome. But it did knock Evil Dead Rise to number 6, so I am counting Evil Dead Rise as my honorable mention. I'm also going to say my bottom 3 movies. Third place is going to Inside with Willem Dafoe. Similar to Half Star for Yabos, I deduct a star if you make me look at poop. And that movie does have a shit shot, so 1.5 stars. Second place goes to Transformers Rise of the Beast. It was just really boring, and the script was cringe. Also 1.5 stars. And last place, again, drum roll please, 65 with Adam Driver. This movie was offensively boring, and the dinosaurs looked like dog shit. So that's my list. Have a good one. Bye!
Oh, damn. I actually dug on Inside, but it does have a whole bathtub full of doo-doo.
God damn.
That sounds like a plus a star for Bob.
Yeah.
It's my favorite film.
Bob's going to shut down the show and go watch Inside real quick.
I got to go watch Inside right
see
fucking
this
now.
fucking
Guys, I got to go.
I got to lay eyes on this motherfucker.
This literal pile of shit. I got to see it. Damn.
Oh, man.
That's
pretty good.
Gnarly, dude.
Yeah.
I haven't seen 65, but I don't think I've heard a single person that has enjoyed it.
No, that's a bummer too, because Adam Driver, he's
good.
He's a good actor.
He's good, yeah.
Bo was afraid at number one.
Oh yeah, whoa. I have heard a lot
stance, but cool.
Yeah. I could kind of get it. Because I could get it, but definitely not for me. But I have heard a lot of positive things about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is awesome.
Dude, yeah, I really want to see that.
Me too. Yeah, that and so that I might do a double feature where I watch that and the Spider-Man Multiverse new movie or whatever, because I've heard that's good too. That sounds like a fun afternoon.
Yeah, they were back to back in the theaters. It's crazy. You can't see Spider-Verse now. I think it's probably streaming.
I think so too.
At this point, but. Yeah, I want to watch both those real bad for sure. What was her second bottom rung? It was 65. It was Inside, and what else?
Bottom rung.
I don't remember what she said.
I don't remember. I was going to comment on it, but I can't remember now. Guess it wasn't that important. Anyway,
I recognized it, but I don't know.
Hold on, I'm going back in.
Oh, God.
Going back in.
Oh God.
That movie does have a shit shot, so 1.5 stars.
Yeah.
Second place goes to Transformers Rise of the Beast.
Transformers. That's why I brought it, because I was this fucking close to seeing that movie just on the sheer nostalgia value, because the goddamn Beast Wars were in there.
I know, man. I know.
And it's that was not. I knew it wasn't a smart move. I knew it wouldn't have been.
They
a smart
almost
move,
got
but
your
man.
ass.
After the reviews came in and after people started talking about it, I was like, this sounds somehow worse than I could have imagined. And I'm very
so
glad
unfortunate.
They almost fucked your ass.
That's one of those. They could have mined me for gold, but they fucked it up by being terrible at making a good movie.
You got clocked by Randu.
I'm going to pay you $100 to fuck off.
I'll take that.
Yeah, I'll take that deal every time.
Yeah,
that was positioned towards Michael Bay actually, but whatever.
Thanks for calling, Librarian. Always good to hear from you. Again, if you guys want to call and leave a voicemail to be featured on next week's show, hit us up at 904-638-3231. Any new prompts you guys want to throw out?
Are you satisfied with your Haunted Mansion excursion? Are you?
What Disney ride would you like for them to fuck up next?
Would you like to see
It's a Small World
flight? Dumbo's flight taken to fucking a feature-length film?
Yes.
I'm trying to think of some of the rides that, obviously Dumbo's attached to a property, but what? So you have It's a Small World.
They don't have a whole lot of IP-free stuff anymore.
Not anymore.
I want to see Turkey Leg the ride.
Dude, those turkey legs always.
Big Thunder Mountain, I'm sure, is on its way.
Oh,
that's one they could do.
Thunder movie.
Matterhorn, they could probably do. But they fucked up Jungle Cruise so bad, and I don't know, man.
Yeah,
that movie didn't make money, right?
I don't know. It probably made.
It's got The Rock in it, so probably
big dick swinging. Call in and let us know what property you want Disney to ruin next. Thanks. Next week we're gonna hit up another new release. We're gonna be talking about The Last Voyage of the Demeter. It's in theaters, releasing this Friday, I believe. So check it out. Nosferatu related shit. It's being billed as Alien, but on a boat, I guess. So
Okay.
We'll see what that is.
That's a huge promise, but we'll see.
It's giant. Hey, you guys know Nosferatu and Alien? Well, this movie is like both of those, but better.
Yeah, good call.
Okay,
None of these two classic horror films. Yeah, we're ripping off those.
Yeah, Check out Last Voyage of the Demeter. Get ready for next week's show. Until then, find us on all the socials everywhere. Just search Straight Chilling Podcast, and we will show up. Join us on our Slack channel because it's dope and you know you want to do it. Until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.
There'll be food and drink and ghosts.